I want to share a couple of ideas for making communication easier when it's challenging. Sometimes it's really difficult to talk to the people that we should be talking to about whatever problem or issue or challenge we're having or something that's not working. And it can be really challenging to initiate those conversations and to speak to people that we should be speaking to instead of talking to everybody around the outside about whatever it is that's going on. And so I want to share a few ideas for how to make this communication easier. Number one is, if you really struggle talking verbally, think about writing instead, asking if perhaps you could communicate online or write a letter and maybe get what you need to say out that way. Number two is ask the person that you need to speak to if you can speak in the dark. Sometimes the most confronting thing about having these conversations is being seen, like physically seen, witnessed in our vulnerability. And so having the conversation at nighttime in a dark room without the light on can take that fear away. It sort of brings a sense of a different kind of intimacy because there's just the sound of your voice, which can make it feel a little bit more comfortable to talk. Number three is to have the conversation lying on the floor or on a bed, and you lie head to head with their head next to your head. So their body would be up here if I'm lying on the floor. And that way your voices are in each other's ears, but again, you can't see the other person. And so that kind of somewhat, it can be a little bit confrontational, a little bit like they're looking at me. That sort of side of things is taken away, and you've just got this really soft, you don't have to speak loudly to hear each other that way. So it's this sort of softer, gentler way of communicating. And number four is to put a container around communication to really set some boundaries for the conversation that you need to have. One of my favorite exercises for communication, which is really good for expressing needs, it's really good for expressing what you're afraid of, is desires, fears, and loves exercise. And you take it in turns. You have 2 minutes each. And the first question, you decide who's going to be person A, who's going to be person B. Person A will just ask the question, what do you really want, for 2 minutes? And person B will talk until they run out of things to say. And then person A will say, thank you. What do you really want? And person B will keep going until the 2 minutes is up, and then you switch. And then you do the same thing again with what are you afraid of? Person A will ask the question, person B will respond, and then person B will ask the question, person A will respond. And then the same thing again with what do you love about me? So person A will ask, what do you love about me? And person B will let them know all the things that they love about person A. The beauty of having this question included and having it last is that it is really incredibly soothing for the nervous system. So you've just shared a lot of really vulnerable stuff about what you really want, which can be terrifying to talk about sometimes, what you're afraid of, which can be very vulnerable as well. And so to have shared all of that and then have this positive reinforcement of like, oh, I could be this open and still this person sees these things that they love about me. Still I can receive love. Still I'm accepted, which is a really, really beautiful way to end this process. And as much as you can, you don't really talk about it afterwards. You just share, thank each other, and then move on with something else. If something arises that you do need to speak to the other person about, approach it very softly, very gently, respecting the container and the vulnerability of the sharing. And it can help to put that kind of container, or invent your own sort of container around the conversation. Or it's more like a witnessed sharing more than a conversation, because you don't whoever's listening is just listening without jumping in to share their thoughts, share their opinions, any of that sort of stuff. So it's just a space to be heard, which is really, really beautiful. And that's it. I would love to hear if you've tried any of these, how it works for you, how you feel about communication. It's something that's very present in my life right now, is having a few uncomfortable conversations that I'm trying out a lot of these things on to help me be able to speak, because I've spent a lot of my life running away from being real, from being true, from speaking about the things that I know I need to speak about. And so this time I'm trying something different, and a lot of these tools are really working for me. So I'd love to hear if they work for you. Lots of love.